A lot of you asked me about best in slot gear for next patch, so first off I want you to understand, it's very situational. I optimize things for raid DPS 12-man groups. So now if you do dungeons, this might not be the right thing for you. So I want you to know how you can adjust things. In the end, if it works for raids, it will also work for dungeons. Like the veteran dungeons are way easier than trials. So if it's not fully optimized, it doesn't really matter that much. The number one thing that matters in raids is how fast can you burn down the bosses, because the longer a boss fight, the more mistakes you can make, right? So for me, single target is the most important factor. And how do you achieve that? On a Magicka setup, double infused weapons, shock enchant with a magic damage and magic drain enchant on the front and back bar. I will start rolling out builds on my website pretty soon, maybe today or tomorrow. And you need to understand, like on trash fights, yes, you can change to a Nirnhorn staff with a spell damage enchantment, because infused only hits one target, right? But for me, it doesn't really matter, because you drop 1-2 Death Ultis on trash packs and they melt away anyway. So my focus is on single target, and yours should be too, even in wet dungeons and stuff like that. The faster the boss is dead, the quicker the end fights and the less mistakes you can make, right? Now if you want the mix between single target and AoE, you can run infused back bar, Nirnhorn front bar and something like that. I just want you to understand how to reach the max single target DPS, and you also need to be aware on how much penetration you have. I am aiming for like 14 to 15k penetration, because the tank will have infused Crusher enchant, maybe even infused Torux Crusher, which gives about 2 to 2.5k penetration. And then you have Alcast in the group, but keep in mind, Alcast doesn't have 100% uptime. But with Alcast and Crusher you will easily hit the 18.2k penetration. That's all things you need to consider, and you need to check that for your own group. Because I know what we run in our group, so I can calculate it how much penetration I need. Then there's also a difference between stamina and Magicka. Magicka is really strong light armor passives. They get 4884 spell penetration from light armor passives. Stamina doesn't have that, so you need to use sets like Two-Fanged Snake to get penetration, or Night Mother's Gaze or Thunderflame. So Magicka will almost have more spell critical than stamina weapon crit this patch, because Magicka already gets penetration through other things. So you can stack Mother Sorrow, Julianos and Iceheart. Then another thing is, do we need Maelstrom weapons? Not necessarily anymore. I got more single target with shock and like another enchant. Are Maelstrom stuff still good? Yes. Like I said, most things you end up more or less with same DPS. That's why it's important that you test stuff yourself on target skeletons. But then keep also in mind, target skeletons don't necessarily represent trial DPS. When I will start doing the build videos for Horns of the Reach once the update goes live, you know I changed the focus a little bit. I only explain quickly the gear set and all the stuff you can find on the website. Then we go do a DPS parse. I will explain the rotation, we will analyze the combat metrics parse together. So you do understand why we get this certain amount of DPS. Because concussion, off balance and other debuffs matter a lot. And you will most likely get less DPS on skeletons this patch, but more overall DPS in raids. Because you're not at the penetration cap anymore, so you will get less DPS on the skeletons. If you want to optimize DPS on skeletons, then go ahead. I don't see the point, but that's totally up to you. Just saying. For healers and tanks, not a lot of things changes. Sure, like you have seen, like Plague Doctor got nerfed a little bit, but it doesn't really matter, because remember, they increased the like stamina Magicka health bonus by 11 or 12%. So they reduced some of the sets like Plague Doctor or Necro, the last piece, because otherwise you would get way more out of there, right? And why is crit now so strong again? It's simple. In Morrowind, you get 3% crit per bonus. In Horns of the Reach, it's 5%. So they buffed the crap out of those crit bonuses. That's very important. And then Mother Sorrow got another buff. The 5-piece got buffed. So from Mother Sorrow or Leviathan you get like 21.5% overall critical. That's insane. I found, like I said, Magica, Mother Sorrow, Julianos and 1 Ice Heart with 2 infused weapons for single target, best in slot. For stamina it's still 2 Fanged combined with Hunting's Rage. Then you have infused dagger and maybe a precise or another infused dagger with a precise bow on the back bar. And I'm still checking whether I want to use a full monster set or I'm also gonna use 1-piece Krog and 1-piece Slime Krog, because Slime Krog gives now 5% weapon critical. That's also something we still have to decide on, but I will explain that further when we do the build videos. I do hope you understand what I'm going for. I will also do more PvP builds, like I got some really cool ideas and PvP is actually fun. I really hope I have more time to play PvP this patch. If you do have any questions or suggestions, let me know in the comment section below. I can do another video answering the most, like the biggest concerns of next patch and all that kind of stuff, because there's some really cool changes coming, believe me. And I really hope console gets more FPS with the changes to those AoE things that they made. I really hope so, like that the performance overall increases. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Cheers.